1/7 of the world's population will tune in to the royal wedding with William and Kate. But there's something that you may not have heard about this wedding that's behind the scenes, and very few would talk about it. This is a story behind the wedding that may shock you, and it may also help you not to be deceived as a believer in the end time. You'll hear more about it at freedomchurchofgod.com. Were you aware of an ominous event that may involve the throne of England? The time is so short before Jesus' return that Prince William may never actually inherit the throne. But did you know that Jesus Christ will sit on that very throne? While the fact is not ominous, it might stir your interest to find out about the evil that could be committed by one man, one person to sit on that throne before Jesus does. Knowing that distinct possibility could help you avoid being deceived in these last days. Jesus' warning in Matthew 24 his first warning was, don't be deceived. Now, on the day of the crowning of Queen Victoria in the last century, or 2 centuries ago, the London Sun published an article featuring the Stone of Destiny under the throne of England. Thanks to thetrumpet.com for uncovering this article. This article states, history relates that it is the stone whereon the patriarch Jacob laid his head in the plains of Luz. The paper added that Jacob's pillar stone was brought to Ireland by way of Spain about 700 years before Jesus. From there it was taken into Scotland by King Fergus about 370 years later, and in the year 350 BC it was placed in the Abbey of Scone. Critics like to poo-poo the teaching that the Anglo-Saxon nations are descendants of Joseph's sons who inherited the birthright blessings of national greatness. We've explained this teaching for many hours on freedomtruthseekers.com, showing that the United States and the Commonwealth nations are not the lost tribes, the lost 10, but only 2 of what became 13 tribes who lost their identity. Just as America started with 13 colonies, the nation that became at one point the greatest nation on earth was one of 13 tribes, as was the modern nation of Israel, descended from the son of Jacob named Judah. These same critics laugh at this idea, and they often attack this truth as a theory based on oral tradition and fables. Yet notice that this British newspaper in June of 1837 referred to Jacob's pillar stone being under the throne of England as a fact of history. We plan to refer to this truth in our coming book on 2012. As a 19-year-old in 1970, I was privileged to visit England and see the throne and this stone. Some say the real stone was stolen by the Masons and is reserved for future evil purposes. I'm not absolutely sure what happened, whether I saw the real stone or the false, but we know that that stone was transferred to be under the throne of England. We won't get into conspiracy theories here, but we will examine what the Bible prophesies about a future evil leader who will be an expert counterfeiter, not of money, but of prophesied events of a godly nature. The Bible plainly states that Jesus is going to rule from the earth from Jerusalem. The Word also says he will sit on the throne of David. A few generations back, the royalty of England knew about this truth. We're not sure what the present queen knows about it, but we do know that Jeremiah, according to the Bible, was commissioned by God to move the throne out of Israel until a later time. Jesus warned that even the elect would be highly tempted to be deceived by the coming despots who falsely represent Jesus or even claim to be him, Matthew 24. We know they will perform by Satan's power unusual signs and wonders that will make the world stand in awe. But they may have another tactic to deceive. We know that Lucifer rebelled and tried to take God's throne. What could convince even Christians that the son of perdition is indeed Jesus returning to earth to rule? Daniel in Daniel 11 tells us that this beast with the contingent, his contingent of the false Jesus and the false prophet, after having done away with the Arab Mahdi or Antichrist, will, and I quote, pitch the tents of his royal pavilion between the seas and the beautiful holy mountain. Well, that's Jerusalem. If the throne of David, verified as authentic by the Stone of Destiny, were to fall into the wrong hands, which some believe is already the case, what better evidence would the false Jesus need to convince the world, even some Christians, that he is Jesus, than to move David's throne to Jerusalem? He can say, look, here I am, I'm Jesus. Here's the throne of David, I got the proof of it. This is the actual throne of David. We've got all the documents, and this is an historical find. Now, such an event is likely to happen, and the counterfeit would be foiled because Jesus is coming back, and of course he's going to be, that means that the throne would already be moved to Jerusalem, so when he goes to sit on it, it's already there, as is prophesied. God tells us to be alert to the schemes of the devil, especially in these last days. Few people would consider this interesting possibility as they watch the royal wedding. But even amid the great pomp and ceremony surrounding potential inheritors of the throne of England, we want believers to focus on the throne itself and consider a likely scenario. This knowledge can someday save your life and save you from terrible deception. And here's a book that will keep you from being swallowed up in the religious deception that surrounds our world today. We'll get it in the right sense and get it. This is actually, the Bible has been kind of like upside down for people because they haven't understood the key to understanding the Bible, the key to not being deceived, to understand prophecy in these last days. And this book, Bible Code Broken, will show you. You can achieve. You can be able to order a copy on freedomtruthseekers.com or freedomchurchofgod.com. And so we encourage you to order this book to combat the deception that will come in the end time. And we also want to encourage you to tune in to a voice of real truth in the world, freedomtruthseekers.com.